This video contains gratuitous use of profanity and uncomfortable pauses to compensate for lack of professionalism and original thought. Viewer discretion advised.
Side of the spectrum, we bring you the Nerdy Manroom Show with your host, Hassel and Monster. Kick us off, Monster. Give us some love, baby.
Yeah, well, let's go straight into our sponsor because we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. So let's jump right on in and thank our sponsor, the Zone Collectibles. You can find them at their store located at 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia. You can find them on the internet at thezonecollectibles@gmail.com and on Facebook at The Zone Collectibles. Visit them for all your nerdy needs, from comics to Legos, trading cards, toys, games, and more. Help them support the local artist community through their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And with that, which I know I went through that kind of quick, but we've got a lot of stuff because we originally were going to talk collectibles this week, like our holy grails, what we have, what we're still looking for. But there was a lot of news that came out this week. D23 was this past weekend. Plus, there's the how do I put this? The AEW saved the drama for no mama apparently.
The debacle.
Yeah.
The debacle. They have played the player and the game.
So we wanted to touch on some of that, spend time on that. So in light of that, we decided we would kick the collectible grails out for the next episode. But before we even get to that point, let's just run through our Geek Weeks. And I know Big Rob was with us last time. He went first, and then I don't remember who went after that. So we can flip a coin. You want to go first, or you want me to go?
You're more than welcome to haul ass.
All right, I'm going to try and go through some of these quickly so we can get to the meat of the bone, so to speak. But for me, Geek Week has been we recorded last on the September 2nd or something like that, so or the 3rd, somewhere along in there. So we've got a little bit of time in here, but I had a huge toy haul come in. Yeah, I had a huge toy haul come in from Big Bad, and I had Marvel Legends wise, I had a Fire Lord, which was a nice figure. Iron Spider-Man. Now, this is one I do want to touch on for a minute because this is the first one I've gotten with the windowless packaging.
So what's your thoughts?
So first of all, I'm not a fan of the package just because it's not even like it's artwork. It's a picture of the figure. Yes. I'm like, dude, if I want to see the figure, I want to see the picture, not a picture of the figure. I even sent a picture of this to some other collectors in our community that we know that are friends of the show, and they had not seen it yet. They're like, what is that? I was like, that's the new box. They're like, that sucks.
Dude, you know what it reminds me of? You remember when we were small children and the Sears Wish book used to come?
Yeah.
You older listeners, you'll know what we're getting at here. The first thing you did was you went to those 20 pages of toys. And you started circling and dog ear and things, but it just reminded me of that. It's like it's just a fucking picture. It's literally just a fucking picture.
If it'd been artwork, it'd been something different. But would it just being a picture? I will say that just looking at that, it made me say, because I had already bought. Well, I already bought like 4 of this same figure because my son bought one for a friend for Christmas because his friend didn't get the order and wanted it real bad, so we bought him one for Christmas. Bought my son one for his birthday, and then I bought 2 for me because I usually, when it's a figure that I really like, I'll get one on the wall and one to open and display. I was so disgusted with it. Did you hang
the picture of the toy on the wall?
No, I was so disgusted. I ended up giving it away to somebody else that I know is a huge Spider-Man fan. I just like, look, I've already paid for it. You don't owe me nothing. You can have it.
I happen to know one of those in Georgia that didn't get one. I'm just saying. But hey.
Well, I thought you already had one or had one on order, so I was like,
no, I actually, that was the only reason I didn't, was throw it that right there. Like we had discussed one time before. If like they done like with card series where like a particular artist done this set of Marvel cards, or like even with the older Marvel Legends, like when they might have been the last set or so that Toy Biz done before. If they are, who had them just before Hasbro? Was it Mattel?
No, it was Toy Biz because Hasbro bought Toy Biz out.
Okay, that's right. Well, that last set or two that they had, it was around the late 2000s. They had the card had a different artist for each set. Every way had a particular artist that done the backing. I mean, that doesn't like I'm down with that, baby.
Well, that's like with the ones with the window packaging. They had a different artist do the character on the side of it, and they did that on this too. There's a drawing on the side, but when I looked at it closer, it's not even a different artist. It's just when they pulled straight out of a comic book and stuck it on the side of it.
I still can Doc Ock was that way. I was not sold.
Now the X-Men set, even if they had been windowless, but those ones they did where they had the trading cards on the back of them, the trading card designs on the back and on the sides, if they'd have done that on the front of it, I could have been down with that. That was actually pretty cool looking, but not with what they've done.
Well, like I said, Mr. Sinister back here, it's done like a VHS box.
Yeah,
there's art
it's
on
unique.
the front, art on the back. The back has a picture of the figure. I've never opened it. Will never open it. But it has something that sells you. Like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And if you do open it, it's a unique figure inside. I'm not buying a box with a damn picture of the figure on it. It's not happening. Not again.
And since you mentioned that Sinister, as a quick aside, they dropped the Mystique for that VHS set today for pre-orders. But going back to this figure, besides the outside, when I opened the box up, they've gone fully cardboard inside the box. I think I sent you a picture of it.
As an insert with just the figure wrapped in like a piece of paper.
They're wrapped in paper, and they have like a cardboard that secures them pretty tightly. I mean, they're not going anywhere, and you actually have to tear the cardboard apart to get it. Like, there's little tabs, like there's cardboard wraps around the side, and then there's tabs that go across the front of it, and they tab into it, so it keeps it pretty secure. But the problem is it's so tight that if they stay in there too long, and the ones we've been seeing with the warped legs and stuff, they put that figure in there as closely packed as they can. That's what's warping them, is that cardboard.
Really?
So that's going to be an issue going forward too if they don't straighten that out some more. Put like some separation in there, like where their leg joints and stuff are. But I won't harp on it too much. But yeah, it was so bad that I ended up giving one of them away instead of hanging it on the wall, which is hard for me.
That right there is something in itself.
Yeah. Now the one I took out of the box was amazing looking. The figure's awesome. He's posed pretty good, but the box was a complete turnoff. Let's see, what else did I get in that box? I had some Power Rangers Lightning Collection stuff. I got it in 3 role play items. I got the Blue Ranger helmet, Lord Draken's helmet, and I got the Blue Ranger Power Lance, and that lance is huge. I mean, it's still in the box, but it's the box for it is taller than any other one I have, but it's almost as long as the Bandai Power Sword. Yeah, I was surprised at how nice it was. What else? I had Star Wars Black Series. I got the Wandering Jedi Obi-Wan, and the Darth Vader from Obi-Wan series came in. Masterverse She-Ra. This was actually a really nice figure. It's the current run they're doing, like the Revelations figures. It was a really good figure. She had a lot of accessories. She's got extra heads, hands, different capes you can put on her. She's got where how her sword could change shape.
Yeah.
They got it where it had turned into the shield. But the best thing about it was she actually got a screen accurate sword. From the cartoon, like the He-Man when they made, he has more of the comic style sword. This She-Ra actually has the sword that looks like Adam's just with a jewel in it. And I was like, man, why didn't they give that to He-Man too? I'm hoping the 40th anniversary might have that one. And then I think the last thing that was in my toy haul was I did get my Thundercats Ultimates Bengali. Like, he's my number 2 out of my Thundercats, right behind Lion-O and right above Tiger. But he looked fantastic. I love the way he looked. And then he's the only one that I contemplated changing out the head and putting like the glowing eyes on it. But I ended up not doing it. But I did get him out and pose him. I've got 2 of them. I got one in the box too. But the best thing about him was he was not just a reissue and a reuse of Tiger. It's like, it's a whole different mold. It really is.
When I seen him first announced, I was kind of concerned with that there. But it's a completely different figure. And it's like, it's refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah, besides that, my Geek Week really just was predicated by watching stuff. I didn't really read hardly anything. I was just I was out of new comics, and I was like, I don't feel like reading no ones until I go out of town again. But as far as what I've watched, I've been keeping up with She-Hulk, Stargirl, and Rings of Power, which are all current shows that are running. Stargirl's probably one of the best CW shows besides Flash, honestly. She-Hulk has been hilarious to watch.
Yeah, that has actually been very, very good.
Rings of Power has been kind of slow. It's been hard to get through it. I'm hoping it picks up. Like the 3rd episode started picking up a little towards the end, but the first 2 were just drug. I did binge Cobra Kai season 5. If you haven't watched that, and I won't give any spoilers, watch that one because that's really good. I will say the first season of that show, I wasn't really 100% sold on it, but it wasn't terrible. But man, the further it's gone, the better it has gotten.
And it's one of those rabbit holes, and it's like a guilty pleasure. You'll smash a season.
I did.
Without blinking.
I watched all but the last 2 episodes of the season in one day, and the only reason I stopped because I looked and I was like, "Oh, it's 1 a.m. I need to go to bed because I got to get up in the morning."
Yeah.
I did start a new show on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen this, House of the Imperfects.
Seems like I have seen something about that.
It's a supernatural show. It's like there's these 3 kids, or I say kids, they're their late teens, maybe early 20s, because I can't tell if they're in their senior year of high school or their first year or 2 of college. But they all went to this same doctor. They all had like a genetic disease, and they went to this same doctor and had this stem cell therapy and were taking medicine for the last so many years of their life for that disease, and it was keeping it in a remission. But come to find out, none of that was actually real. I mean, their disease was real, but none of the medication in the stem cell was. He was treating them with artificial stem cells that were actually mutating them into different things.
What was it from dead bodies?
No, it's just stem cells that they created artificially in a lab, and they created them by combining different animal and hybrid DNAs of different stuff. Is how they explained it.
I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. I literally watched a movie on Netflix Friday or Saturday night, and it was just spookily similar to that there. However, it was a German dubbed movie. It was like it was filmed in German, but it was dubbed in the U.S. But basically, it's very similar to that there. But it's like it leaves you like there's demon possession, and they kind of find out they're like a damn cult, and they're like giving medicine to these kids that's actually grown from spores out of dead bodies.
It's similar. It's not quite the same. I mean, this one, like the 3 main characters, there's one girl that's a succubus, one that basically is a banshee, and then the guy is a chupacabra. He thinks he's a werewolf at first and figures out it's actually a chupacabra, not a werewolf. But
oh, what a knock. Would you hate to find out you're a fucking chupacabra, not a werewolf? Come on. Like, you're that close to being cool. This is that close.
The doctor and the doctor in the show goes missing, and like, because they're out of their medicine and they can't get any more. He doesn't have any more, and they're like, he disappears. So they're trying to find him and find out what he did to him and how to cure it. But they're also finding out that he's doing this to other people too. Like this one guy that they face in the first episode and goes into the second one, they can't kill him. He's basically a zombie, but still alive. But like, no matter what damage his body takes, it heals from it. They chopped his head off at one point, buried the body and separated from the head, and they needed answers from him, so they dug it back up and stuck it back on, and his neck started growing back together. But every one of these powers also has a bad side effect. Like for him, you can't kill him. No matter what you do to him, he's going to come back to life, but he carries the scars of whatever you did, and he feels the constant pain from those scars. It never goes away.
Ooh.
So like he feels, yeah. So it's a weird twist, but like he was just a guy who was trying to get into bodybuilding and build himself up for like weightlifting, and the doctor talked him into doing like a human growth hormone therapy instead of it being like a disease. So they have a whole list of names of people they're trying to find that he's affected, so they can try and figure out what happened to him too, so they can get their cure. I've only watched like the first 2.5 episodes, but it's interesting, but it's one of those where it's interesting for a part of the show, and then it drops, and then it comes back by the end. It's the middle is always a lull in it, but yeah. I will eventually finish it because I think it's only like 8 or 10 episodes. Other than that, I did stream some movies. I watched Elvis, the one with Tom Hanks as Colonel Tom Parker. I watched that on HBO Max.
I've been this close to
Dude, it was a really good movie, and the guy who played Elvis did a fantastic job, impersonating him and being the character. I will say it was like 2.5 hours. It probably could have been right at 2 hours. It cut about 30 minutes of filler out, but man, there was some parts in there that were just so entertaining and good. But I actually enjoyed it, and I'm not really a huge Elvis fan, but I did enjoy that movie.
I didn't appreciate him growing up because my mother, as you know, was fanatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the house that had the velvet Elvis paintings. So I didn't appreciate him growing up, and then when I got a little older and was able to like be mature and appreciate music a little more, you kind of go to realizing just what he done, and
yeah, you realize what he did and what it meant, and you see that in that movie, like what it meant to the African American community where he brought their music out. Because even though it was like some people are like, well, he just stole their music and their style, and you see in the movie when there's conversations that were supposedly real where they're like, no, we would get in trouble for what we do, but you can go do it and take it out there and represent us.
he kicked all that off because before that, I mean, you didn't have what is considered rock and roll.
No.
And it's crazy to think. This is something I love to hit with all my music friends with. It's like, how different would today's music be had him and Jimi Hendrix not passed away? Because they would have went on to not only just continue to contribute, but they would have moved into the, influencing and, producing and things of this nature. And God, there's no telling how many young talents that they influenced into the 80s that, could have been just detrimental,
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a fantastic one. If you get a chance to watch it, you should. Like I say, it could have been a little shorter. They could have cut out some filler time, but I think they felt like they needed to tell all that to tell the story.
It's actually in my watch list. I just hadn't pulled the trigger on that, but I haven't pulled the trigger on Thor: Love and Thunder yet either. So, I can't.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched that yet. I did pull the trigger on another one in my watch list. I've been wanting to see Moonfall since it came out, and it's on HBO Max now. So I finally sat down and watched it. I was sadly disappointed. The concept and the story for what that is really good. It was just the casting did not fit, and the people who were playing the characters didn't seem to. Short of this one doctor guy, the rest of them really didn't fit their characters, and they just didn't bring anything to it. It was just kind of like they were reading the lines from the script as they were going through. It's what it felt like. But the story was really good.
Gosh.
Because I didn't realize.
I've actually got a long list already, and it's like, I know it's going to be terrible come February.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw what the story was for that Moonfall, but instead of being, because when I first saw it, I was like, okay, it's just another disaster movie. The moon is falling, but actually you find out the moon is actually a superstructure that's built by an ancient race of basically Earthlings, but it was before they lived on another planet. They created AI, and it's the story of the Terminator. The AI became fed up with being enslaved, started taking over and killing them, so they went to war against the AI, but they built all these different superstructures, and basically which were more or less Death Stars, if you want to look at it, but more like lifeboats instead of Death Stars to fight back, but that's what they looked like was a Death Star, but it's more like an arc. And they sent them out to different areas of the universe, and the only one that survived the purge from the AI was Earth's moon. So like the outer crust of the moon is just where it crusted up from travel through space and all that, and it's asteroids around it. But yeah, so the inside of it's like a white dwarf star and stuff, but it's there, and it's seeded inside that arc is all the DNA from those humans from that other planet, and that's what seeded life on Earth to create Earth's humans. So it was really interesting backstory for it, and they could go other places with it, but it was just the acting was just, it didn't fit. And none of the actors were bad actors; they just didn't fit that movie to me.
Well, what's the one that it's Owen Wilson? He's got some kind of superhero-ish movie.
It's on Paramount. I haven't. It's Superhero HQ or something. I haven't got to watch it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I've just seen. I actually the only reason I was aware of it was because I've seen action figures for, it, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I didn't know.
Actually, like one of the there's actually, and it's by a top company that. But I actually seen a small clip of it on one of the streaming apps I got because we got all of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's on Paramount.
I just wasn't sure what it was or where it was at, or
he's the hero, and I want to say Michael Pena is the villain. Dude from Ant-Man.
Yeah, now that you said that, I think that is who that is. I might have been why I didn't invest in it. It's like I can't take this guy seriously.
Dude, he was in that Moonfall movie, and he actually played a good part. Like he was the main astronaut. He was the current husband of the main astronaut's ex-wife, but like he did a good part of being like a stepdad and trying to get the family to safety and stuff like that. I mean, he dies before the movie's over. Spoiler alert. But
after Ant-Man, it's just hard to hear him say anything other than super crazy fine. It's just.
And the last thing in my Geek Week is we did go to the theater on September 3rd, which was National Cinema Day, because every movie was $3, no matter what time or format, all day long. It didn't matter if it was IMAX, 3D, all of them were $3. And we went and we pulled a triple header at the theater. We watched DC League of Super Pets. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably the best DC movie I've seen in a long time. It was hilarious. I'd give it a solid 9. It's not just DC movies, but comedy-wise, it's probably one of the best all year. Keanu Reeves was Batman in the movie, and he was so hilarious. Like, at one point, you see the Justice League working together and saving, and everybody's like happy and stuff, and it cuts over to him. And he's like, "I miss my parents," just out of the blue. And then there's another part where all these different animals that get powers are supposed to be the League of Super Pets along with Crypto, and the Ace, the Bat Hound, walks up to Batman and he's like, "I work alone, except for Robin and Batgirl and Nightwing, and Orphan." And he goes naming off all of his sidekicks, and he's finally like, "All right, just come on." But the best part of that movie, there's this little guinea pig that's the main villain. And now I am not a fan of Kate McKinnon in an actual acting role, like when she was in Ghostbusters and stuff, but her voice acting was hilarious to be that guinea pig, and she was so evil. Like there's this one point where she traps them all in these cages, and she's like, and I just busted out laughing as loud as I could in the theater. I couldn't hold it in, but she's sitting there like all the pets go into these cages. She's like, "Oh no, they're so sad. Oh, the turtle's so sad. Oh, the dog is so sad." And she just sits there and makes fun of all of them, and it cracked me up hard. But I love that movie. That was a fun one to watch. We watched that one, and then we went to Dragon Ball Super, their new superhero movie, which is focused on Gohan and Piccolo. I'm more of a Goku and Vegeta fan, but this was actually really good, and they gave Gohan his new form, which is supposed to be like Goku's Ultra Instinct. It's like his highest form that he's been able to achieve. It's like Beast Gohan is what it's called. It was actually, I actually really enjoyed it. The animation in that movie was amazing. I haven't seen one that looked that crisp and clear in quite a long time.
That's when I seen it. Was, I forget what one of the services had it, but the animation was a little questionable. It didn't even seem as good as the episodes we used to watch on Cartoon Network.
Watch Dragon Ball Super because it's much improved, and this movie was just this past year when it was created, and it's amazing looking, just visually. But the last movie we watched was Bullet Train with Brad Pitt in it. That was actually pretty funny and entertaining. It was. I would say that one's a good 7.5 on the movie scale, but that was pretty good.
That's one I actually want to see, but I feel like it's going to be a streamer.
If it hadn't been a $3 theater one, I would have just streamed it. But $3 at the theater, it was worth it just to sit there and watch.
Yeah,
now,
it's
full price. Full price, I'd have probably felt a little bit different about it because it was good. It just wasn't great.
I got you.
But that was pretty much all of my geek and a half week.
It's a lot to unpack, Monster.
Yeah, it was.
Well, starting out with the old toys, I had to get a haul come in, and I got the Shiva you got. I got the Hordak, the opposite. And I will say that it is like, I was impressed with the quality of it because typically you see those Masters of the Universe at Walmart or wherever, and they're like no, they're not bad. But, they don't just exactly bowl you over typically.
Yeah.
This one right here, it is, I have the Super 7 Hordak that's in the classic animated colors, along with the first version where he's, got the comic accurate colors.
Yeah.
Colors. Dark are the original colors. So, looking at it, I mean, it's very, very much in tune with the Super 7 classic colors. He's got the alternate arms with the gun. He's got, various, okay, he's got a shit ton of accessories. I think I posted a picture on our page the other day. So I was very, very, very impressed with it. Bronx come in.
I'll say too before you get off of that one onto the next one. Sorry to interrupt, but that Masterverse line of figures, once they got out of just doing just the revelations and what was going to be on the new show, once they started doing different versions and a multiverse of those figures, for lack of a better term, because they're calling them Masterverse now instead of Revelations. Yeah. But the more they've done of those, the better they are. The Zodak looks amazing. I've got him pre-ordered. I pre-ordered Hero, the new Adventures of He-Man, the Battle Armor He-Man. And the 40th anniversary. I mean, I've gotten all of them so far, except all the Hero ones so far. But I'll tell you,
and they are a great alternative to the Super 7. I mean, why spend $60 on a Super 7 when you can get this right here for what a fraction of the cost? I mean, this is the Hordak and Shiva. They're deluxe.
Yeah,
and even they're still $25, maybe 30.
30, I think. But when I compare them, I look at Moss Man, who was in the first wave, and I look at Fisto, who was in one of the later waves, like he's in like 3 or so. It's a vast difference in how well those figures are put together, honestly.
Yeah, once they got out of the Revelations, like you said, I wasn't exactly bowled over with that line. And they were good for what they were. Yeah. They were a good representation of how the animation looked. And I'm a huge fan of that show. However, I mean, These are just like, for anybody that wants the Super 7 but don't want to put the money on them, get these, especially if you're going to open them. Because I'm probably going to open this Hordak without doubt.
That, and you can find them on sale because if you wait long enough, most all of them go on sale. Like I've seen a couple, like the Tila, the classic style Tila has been expensive, but everybody else, like I got Moss Man for $9.
Yeah, you can't beat that, right? Especially if you're going to open them.
Man at Arms was the most expensive one I bought, and I think I paid well, besides Shearer because she's deluxe, but regular size Man at Arms I paid $18 for, which is still below regular retail, which is like $21.
And that would be fun to help out the kids and get on the floor and play with them, So
yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty impressed with it. It's so. I'd seen the pictures and I was like, well, I'll gamble because it was the first I bought of those.
Yeah.
I bought some classics when they were a Matty collector, and I bought some when they went to a Super 7. So I was, but they do a Thunder Punch. I'm probably gonna get it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I saw today because they were Tuesday. They do MO Tuesday, and they released a picture of Stratos who's coming next year, and actually he looks amazing.
Well, dude, I've been this close to opening the Super 7 Hordak and Thunder Punch. Because that Thunder Punch is so great looking, but then I'll look at eBay occasionally and see that Thunder Punch going for like $250.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and not that I'll ever sell the damn thing, but I like to know what my shit is worth. Sometimes I'm weird like that. So, matter of fact, our sponsor with the Zone Collectibles wants me to come by now because I give them a list of things I was just kind of curious about. So, we might have an unwrapping on next week's show, so to speak. But moving on, I got the Bronx. So right now I have the Demona, Goliath, and Thalon.
Thalon.
Yeah. I got Bronx now. So I'm really debating opening Goliath now because I have the Cape Wings where it's not just ridiculously spread out. But the thing about do that is I want to open the rest and I want to display them all together and. The others are going to be that way.
You just because not all of them are coming with Cape Wings. Because I've noticed I know Brooklyn and Lexington not Lexington. He's got the small wings. He doesn't cape them anyway. What was it? Brooklyn and Broadway. They don't have them.
How good did that figure look that other day when they kind of previewed it?
Dude, all those figures.
I'm sold on it. I went in for everything so far. So.
And I've got the Goliath out of the box, but the wingspan is just it. He's standing on one of these glass detops behind me, and they're I want to say it's 14 or 15 inches is the size of one square there, and the top and bottom lid are like maybe half an inch more because they have to overhang. But his wingspan goes across that entire thing and hangs off both sides of it, and he's standing dead center.
Believe me, while I appreciate that, at the same time I wish they would at least had the forethought to give every one of them caped wings. I mean, I'd have paid an extra $5 even. For me to come with that.
If it was the only thing you were collecting and you had a bookshelf that you could put like 2 on each shelf, it'd be perfect. But whether you have more stuff, there's nowhere to put it.
Obviously, looking behind both of us, we're not people that just collect one thing, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not.
Vast collections. Moving on, I did go in for the Classic Sentinel. That's part of the retro line. It looks very good. I mean, and it's on a card about this big, which is cool because you got the retro style, but it's big enough to where if you did open it, I don't know why you would, but if you did open it, it would be in scale with the being large to the other figures. But my card is unpunched, so it shall stay unpunched and on it.
So, and since you brought those retro ones, I've bought a couple of Super 7 reaction figures and hung them up, just mostly Transformers that are absolute favorites like Prowl and Jazz and Hot Rod or whatever. But I have not bought any of those Marvels. I've looked at them and thought, oh, they're kind of cool, but I don't really want to get into those. And then I'll be darned if they didn't do a Nova. And it's very classic, like his original costume. And I was like, dude, I'm going to have to break down and buy that one for $11 because I saw it on Amazon. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I haven't went in for any of the reactions, but I'm not going to lie. This line here, and I'm Hasbro putting them out, but I mean, there's been a few of the smaller ones that go in scale with these that I've almost bought. They're like $9 typically.
Yeah.
So I've almost bought a couple of them just for the way the packaging looks because it just reminds me so much of figures you would collect as a child. Like the old, it reminds me so much of the Secret War figures. They're simplistic, but looking back, I mean, it was like you would have killed to had this figure in the late 80s, early 90s.
I have walked by them and looked at them and come so close and then walked away and said no because I'm getting so much Legend stuff. But then as soon as I saw the Nova one and I saw he was actually already out, I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to end up buying that one.
Yeah, it's not a rabbit hole I want to jump down.
Me either.
Well, I mean, the Sentinel was cool enough that I did go in for it. I got the Kyle Rayner from McFarlane. I will say it looks amazing in person. And I got my San Diego Comic-Con bat come in. That was pretty cool. I'm been on the edge about opening it, but I did order the regular bat, so I'm thinking about waiting and just opening the regular bat, just because of how the arms are different on the regular bat. The regular bat has the cartoon accurate arms, to where the arms on the comic accurate one, that's the Comic-Con exclusive, are very much in tune to what classified's arms are.
But you expect those to become so much more expensive too because they're exclusive.
Yeah.
But I see that and that line of exclusive from Super 7. I don't think they did very well because they are still sitting in stock on Big Bad, Entertainment Earth, and others.
I actually bought this one from Super 7. Like, literally, they were selling them on their website for like, I think, $45.
And they said they were going to, but man, they're not selling. Like, normally that stuff sells out when it hits the retail stores like the Big Bad and Entertainment Earth, and it's not. It's still sitting there.
Well, like the Thundercat stuff, I mean, it's blatant repaints, and we've had 45 Linos at this point. No one wants anymore. You flooded the market with it. The bat, the only thing I had going for it was it jumped out there before
the rest of the line.
But in some way that it pissed a lot of fans off too, because I know that was the first thing I said is, how the fuck can you get this out of Comic-Con but you can't get in my way? It's getting pushed back. I mean, we literally had this conversation. So I was like,
And just so you know, while you're talking about the stuff, I actually wanted to look because I have not looked, because they had their pre-order status page. I ain't looked at any of their statuses in forever, just to see what's coming when, because stuff has been so far behind or showed like and then till you get to the one Thundercats wave that shows up, 3 months early with this last one, because they wasn't supposed to be here till November.
Yeah, well, I have opened my Vulture Man. I've opened him in the last week. I think I got him a little while back. Him and Big Gotti come in at the same time. I did actually pull the trigger and open Vulture Man Sunday, maybe. The mutants, they did a damn fine job with all the mutants. They look amazing.
So listen to this real quick, though. Since we're talking about it, I looked at their pre-order status page. I'm just going to pick a couple of them out. G.I. Joe Wave 1 is just now in production at the factory. It was supposed to have been out before Comic-Con. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Wave 1 is in production. Wave 2 is in tooling. And Wave 3, they don't even have 3D outputs.
Oh.
Silverhawks Wave 1. Supposed to have been out before G.I. Joe. Tooling is approved. Next step is pre-production samples.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wave 2 is in tooling, and Wave 3 is reviewing 3D outputs from the factory. So I don't get it, because like I said, they rushed this last Thundercats, and they got out there, and the Mandora says it's in tooling review at the factory. Thunder Tank's adjusting tooling, so something was wrong with it, I guess.
That's what I was literally going to say, where they at on the tank, because the tank was supposed to come in well, it was supposed to come summer. Then it got pushed to November. Yeah. So if it's getting retooled, you won't see that this year.
No, that's their stuff just makes
you won't see
no
any
sense.
Of these figures this year. All these figures will be 2023 now.
Their stuff makes no sense, but neither does Hasbro. I mean, I shouldn't just pick on them, but like Hasbro, the wave with Stalker, Tomax, and Zaymot say May of next year for shipping to the U.S. Until I looked today on Amazon, just because they popped up on my Amazon feed, and I was like, oh, I wonder when they're going to come. Now it says November of this year.
Well, see, that was something I was going to hit you with, because on Big Bad Toy Store, which is where I order all my classifieds from, that they were next year. May, something like that.
Yeah, May.
I've been seeing Zaymont, Tomax, and Stalker pop up everywhere on a couple of the collector pages I follow.
I've been seeing reviews of them.
Yeah, like the average Joes are buying these things. They're finding them in Targets and places, and then somebody put like, "Hey, go check Amazon. We're buying them off Amazon." And I looked on there, and sure enough, like you said, they were on there for late October, early November. And I went ahead and just pre-ordered 2 off there, and I was like, you know what? If they come before Big Bad, I can always cancel Big Bad.
Yeah.
They don't charge you until they hit anyway. So, which is the thing that sucks sometimes, because like with the Super 7 shit, this is what hit everybody this past summer. We've been on a hold for these figures for over a year now. Then all of a sudden, what they did initially get, it all hit in a short spell of 45 to 60 days. It was like, left and right, you getting, killed with shit.
Like the only one I ordered out of that way was Stalker, and I'm looking at him right now. He's showing November 1st. I saw Tomax earlier today for November 20th, but Stalker's showing November 1st from Amazon. And I'm like, dude, the only reason I don't normally buy from Amazon is because they beat the shit out of their stuff when they deliver it.
Well, I'm gonna hope for the best, because so far I've had really great luck with Amazon, with the exception of the Silk 2-pack, and it wasn't Amazon's fault. They packaged it correctly.
I know what that story is.
Asshole postal service just laid it on the thing, and it got left in the rain. So that's not Amazon's fault, but I've ordered a few Joes to them. I got the exclusive Roadblock and the exclusive Storm Shadow. So yeah. They come in great shape. So I ordered, if they come early and they are beat all the hell back, that'll be my loose ones, and I may keep the. Yeah. I mean, I've got to next May apparently on the other two.
That's what I'm looking at, because I got them on Hasbro and this May as well. But I'm probably going to end up ordering a Stalker from Amazon, and just if he gets here and he's in good shape, cancel one. If not, I'm going to end up with a loose one, which I don't complain because I got a loose G.I. Joe display too. So
there you go. And to close out my toy haul. You picked up my Chase Ricky the Dragon Steamboat for me, and a 1 of 5,000 Stinger. So I'm pretty happy with that right there. So I had a pretty good toy haul this week. I was excited. I posted pictures of the Mayfax Azrael Batman. I mean, he came a few weeks back, and I've just haven't pulled the trigger on opening things. I've been kind of behind. So I'm thinking we'll probably have an unveil of that maybe by the weekend, and we'll post pictures. Moving on to reading. The only reading I really done was I read issue 1 of Greetings from Parts Unknown, brother. Our friend of the show, Chris Daly. It's on greetingsfrompartsunknown.wordpress.com. You can go read it for free. He's an amazing writer. He does the Fueled by Weird podcast. Like I say, he's a friend of the show. But he's got issue 1 out there already. It's free for you to read. It's a great short story. And issue 2, I believe he messaged earlier and said issue 2 is almost done. So, like I said, greetings from partsunknown.wordpress.com. Check them out. I mean, it's a fun little read. You'll enjoy it, and it's got a lot of left to the imagination type deal. So, reading wise, that's really all I've done. Moving on to watching, I fell on the road. I worked Saturday, so I didn't get to watch a lot. However, I did watch that movie I was telling you about earlier, the German movie, of some sort. And then I watched a few episodes of Cobra Kai, and I had to just make myself cut it off. Because if I had not cut it off Friday night when I did, I would have never made it to work Saturday. Since I was the manager on duty, I don't think that would have been a good idea. So I had to go. But Chosen is such a badass in this, dude. Oh, my God. Like, you hate him so much. All the way through part 2.
He is so hilarious.
But it's crazy how this show does that, though. Because, like, you can't find one scene of the original Karate Kid 1 where you like Johnny. You won't find one scene in Karate Kid 2 where you like Chosen. However, these are your favorite characters, and you almost hate Daniel and Cobra Kai. Like, every time his little whiny ass is talking, I'm just like, why? Everyone out, like literally everyone else is my favorite character but him. But it's a great show, so I got to finish watching it. Beyond that, I watch football. College football's up. The Dogs went 2-0 and murdered the other Bulldogs this past weekend on Saturday and just killed them. Took first place. Go Dogs. Then Sunday, the opening day for the NFL. Any of my friends knows I had made peace back in April or May that the Falcons weren't going to win 5 games this season. I had made peace with this. I was content. Monster. I put my jersey on like all Falcons fans do. Threw my flat bill hat on. Even thought that bitch was ready. And then these sons of bitches come out here and do the unthinkable. For 3.5 quarters, they are shining, baby. I mean, they are hitting the high spots. Defense is fucking killing. I mean, they're like, just sacking the shit out of the Saints quarterback. And I'm like, oh, and we're scoring. We're up by 20-something points. You know where this is going. So, like, I literally just made a post on Facebook because me and my cousin and William, we're all going back and forth, and we're like, who the fuck are these assholes in the Falcons uniforms out here? Because it's not our Falcons team out here. Then our Falcons team showed up. It's like these son of bitches went to get a splash of water, and they traded places. And next thing you know, we lose with 19 seconds to go. We go from a 20-point lead to losing by a field goal with 19 seconds by 1 point. 1 point, monster.
Yeah, I saw the picture of you that your fiance posted where you were just sitting in the chair and you looked so distraught.
Well, I was sitting there and I was trying to be careful because, she has a picture that she loves where it was the same thing where I pulled my hat off and I done frazzled my hair all up.
Yeah.
She loves it. So I kind of caught her out of the corner of my eyes, and I could tell she was trying something. So I was trying to be cautious, or so I thought. But then, we had 19 seconds. They kicked the ball, and I was like, disgusted. Then we got one last chance. We had three timeouts. So I was like, maybe we pull a miracle. And we don't. So I was just some type of way the rest of the afternoon. I was kind of hard to live with. I was not in good shape. I watched a little bit more football that day, and then I did watch some of the Bucks Cowboys. Seen Dak Prescott's glass ass get hurt again. He's out for the half of the season now. And Julio, by God, Jones, this son of a bitch, he wasn't worth 2 knobs of goat shit. The last year we had him in Atlanta. He leaves us. He pitches a fit. He leaves. He's gone for a year. Next thing you know, he ends up in Tampa fucking Bay, our rivals. The only other place he could have went where I hated him more would have been the Saints. And the reason I don't hate him more with the Saints than where he is now is because he's with Tom fucking Brady. This son of a bitch is out here just balling like a motherfucker. I had to cut it off at halftime. I literally got upset at this man. It's like, why were you not playing this way with us?
So, I think part of that, and I'm going to say this, and I am not a fan by any means of Tom Brady, but he's got that Michael Jordan thing where if you're going to play with him, he's going to force you to try and play to win. Whereas was he really being pushed that hard when he was with the Falcons? Because it's like, we're losing anyway. Who cares? But when you play with somebody like that who forces you to play on their level, whether you like them or hate them, it will make you better.
This is a quote from the damn coach today. Hold on, let me find it. I posted it on our social Instagram. Okay, now this is a quote from our coach, Smith. Quotable. You guys wrote our obituary back in May. You'll continue to write our obituary. Who cares? We got 16 games left. If that is not a Ned Stark winter is coming fucking quote.
That is such a defeatist attitude.
Yeah, I mean, nothing else says you're going to fuck us up the rest of the season anyways. We got 16 more games of this shit. Get ready, folks. So, yeah. So, I cut football off Sunday night, and I watched House of the Dragon, and that show just continues to smash. It is so good. And
I haven't tried it.
Anyone that likes me, like, I wasn't a Matt Smith fan. I mean, as big of a Doctor Who fan as I am, I've never been a Matt Smith fan. And dude, he has got me sold in this show. He is such a great character with David Targaryen.
He's good at it. I'm telling you, watch Morbius. That's the only good bright spot in that movie besides visual effects.
I do have to watch that. Well, I'll tell you what,
amazing.
There are only 4 episodes in Monster. I mean, I know you're not a Game of Throneser, but watch these 4 episodes. Just give it a chance. You will be sold by the 4th episode.
So I really enjoy fantasy stuff like that. I just have never watched it, so I didn't get into the original, but I looked at watching this one. I just haven't stopped because I've got so much other stuff I've been watching. But In a couple of weeks here, actually I say a couple of weeks. It's next week I got to go up to Canada, and I don't know how many of my channels will work on my computer up there unless I turn a VPN on, which I don't want to pay for. So I don't have. So I'm either going to usually I'm either stuck watching Disney or Netflix up there, but I'm assuming they have HBO Max. And if they do, then I'll probably end up watching it because like I said, half my stuff I won't be able to watch. Hulu doesn't work up there. Paramount doesn't work up there. So
if it works,
forced to watch others.
Catch these 4 episodes. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. You have the fantasy with the dragons. The Crab King, he's pretty cool. He's a great villain in the second and third episode. But Daemon Targaryen is such a complex character that every time you want to pull for him, he just does something underhanded and dastardly, and you're like, "Oh God, dude, you're a piece of shit." But I can't hate you. Like, that's the thing about Game of Thrones. Like, my favorite characters are always the rogues. But the Hound is one of my favorite characters in Game of Thrones because he's just so dry and just walks by and looks at somebody, calls him a cunt, and keeps going. And it's like, oh, dude, you're so harsh, So Daemon he's almost an elegant version of the Hound, I guess I would put it, because he doesn't say things like this, but like he literally took on an entire army despite his brother, the king, by himself. Bro just shows up in there, starts kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't nothing. I mean, he went John Wick style on them. So yeah, it's just a great show. And then to finish out my week, I didn't watch Raw last night, but I did watch the Broncos and the Seahawks, and we paid a shit ton of money to get Russell Wilson in a Broncos jersey. He goes to the Seahawks and shits the bed. This man looked literally scared on the field a few times last night. Like you could tell the crowd noise in Seattle, they always has a 12th man there. And it's one of the few places where I do see it does play a, factor. But you would think he would be used to that. Seeing as he spent so many years there, he was literally rattled a few times.
Yeah. And since you brought this up real quick, not to interrupt you talking about the game, but you have Hulu, so you should always skip the Monday Night Raw and watch the 90-minute version that Hulu puts out because there's so much filler that's cut out. Now I haven't watched it yet this week either, but I've got it saved, so I've got to do that. But just move to the 90-minute version.
Yeah, and you know what made things better, Monster? See, I didn't catch this. I got half of the game because I said, you know what, hell with it. Halftime I went to bed. Apparently, the Broncos also lost by 1 point. Both of my fucking teams. So I'll let that close out my geek week.
Well, with that, let's jump straight into our news. Now, I think originally I had it on our agenda we go by as the AEW stuff first, but why don't we do the D23 first and try to knock some of that out of the way quickly, because I know we're going to get down a rabbit hole when we get to AEW that might take us longer. That way we'll make sure we have more time for it. We've got all the D23 done by then. So let's just jump straight into the D23. So first thing, I had some announcements from Marvel, and we're not going to go through everything from D23. We'll probably hit on the Marvel and Star Wars because there really wasn't much else that caught my attention greatly besides them. But so Marvel, just for announcements first, in comics, they did, and actually I think this was announced just online, not necessarily at D23, but it was announced during that time frame.
Yeah, I seen more of it yesterday, actually.
Yeah. The Dark Web starts in December. This is going to be the Spider-Man, X-Men, Venom, Miss Marvel, and whoever else is involved in it.
It actually looks really good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a follow-up to Inferno. I mean, Inferno was years ago in the comics, but this is the next time they brought that stuff up. But they showed the first little thing of it in the free comic book day stuff with Chasm and Goblin Queen together. But that's I didn't read too many details other than it starts in December, and I saw it's crossing over into all these books. But that looks really good. I'm interested in that a lot.
Well, I'm a big fan of both characters, and then for some reason Venom has decided to help them, and I don't know if it's going to be the Eddie Brock Venom or if it's the young boy Brock with the symbiote. But,
I don't know.
It's just it is a curious question as why either would be siding up with Chasm and
Goblin Queen,
Madeline. So that's two wrong clones. I mean.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I saw a lot of people like, why are you putting these characters? I was like, dude, they're both the most mistreated clones. They're the two most mistreated clones in comic books.
They both tried to be heroes. They tried to do the right thing, even once they realized they wasn't who they were.
Yeah.
That they were just reproductions. They still try to do the right thing. Was shit on by everyone. Poor Ben was dissected and brought back to life thousands of times.
Yes.
By the jackal till it broke his mind. He still tried to come back from that, and is going through this. Poor Madeline. She's tried to be good, bad. I mean, and finally she's just like, fuck it, I embrace the bad.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to see it, but I mean, that was the only comic news I saw. Toy wise, we talked about the Mystique, which was announced today. I mean, that wasn't part of D23, but they did announce that. Well, actually, it was because they started selling it on Shop Disney on Saturday. But it hit Hasbro and everywhere else today. But then also,
today was the first images I actually got to see of it.
Yeah,
it's a nice configure.
I saw it at the D23 stuff, but again, you had to go to Shop Disney to get it. But the bigger news, I think, to me at least, and probably to you as well, is that this Friday there is a Hasbro panel that's going to be the HasLab announcement for the 2022 Legends HasLab campaign, which is Ghost Rider themed.
Did you see the picture of Galactus for the chain?
I did, where he's holding the chain by his fingertips.
Unfortunately, I'm really worried it's going to be Robbie Reyes. Just because of how long that chain was, it would almost lead me to believe it's car inspired and in scale with that damn car. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I will say on record right now, I'm really, really hoping for something, anything. Dan Ketch. I'll even go with Vengeance. I would be super happy with a Michael Baldino Vengeance and a bike. Because cool. I mean, we haven't got shit. That would be the coolest thing to me if you had the three spirits of three Midnight Suns with Danny, Johnny, and Michael, because the fans of the 90s knew they had the three pieces of the Medallion of Power. So that would be cool to me, like a 3-pack with them and their bikes. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'd like to see him. I got the feeling it's going to be Robbie and
we'll find out Friday.
Charger. But if they do go with Robbie and the Hell Charger, I really hope they do some tiers that have Danny in it, because we just got the retro Johnny. I want a Danny in the retro package.
Danny gets no love. It's crazy how Ghost Rider's whole popularity. I mean, because Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, he was not a very popular character.
No.
Throughout the 70s and 80s, I mean, he was in the damn Champions.
He was around, but he was not a top tier guy.
No, it wasn't until the 90s when the reboot or Volume 2 hits, and Danny went in a totally different direction. You kind of built off the mythos of what you had. I mean, they done like soft reboots of characters from Johnny's run. Because they would bring a few of them back, like, Centurious, the Soulless Man. You had Zarthos, you had a few here or there, but they were all like darker, and Lilith become her own thing, and we'll touch on her more later with the game. But, she become a really cool, and Blackout himself, just he was a really, really cool character, and that's where the popularity built up to where every time you opened the book, he was in somewhere. He was everywhere. I mean, he showed up on cartoon shows. I mean, he was a very cool. I mean, look at it now. When you see Johnny Blaze, whose outfit does he sport? There he is.
No, he's wearing Danny's. Short of the spikes sometimes.
Yeah, he's wearing Danny's. Matter of fact, the retro card, figure, everything is almost 100% Danny Ketch. Other than they did go off the blue suit, just plain black, but put spikes on him. So Danny don't get no love. The last good figure he got was in the Toy Biz line, where he got that one from the Heavens on Fire when he was in the blue. Yeah.
And that whole line was the Rider's line, because he had his bike with him. Yeah. And that's where they had Wonder Man with the hover bike and all that stuff too. But since you brought this one up, let's jump ahead to the games, because Midnight Suns game coming out December 2nd. I did see the thing that I thought was really cool was how they're prefacing it with the 5 short animated videos that they're going to do. And it's showing a backstory of how Lilith, who's the main villain of that game, became the mother of demons. So I'm really interested in seeing that. Now, I will say, looking at the game, I wasn't impressed with the game, because it looks like it's got like it's one of those games where it looks like you go to fight, but then you got to pick a card, and it reminded me of
Final Fantasy is what it reminded me of.
Final Fantasy or Pokemon, like a combination of those two. And I just not to bash Pokemon or the people who love it because it's popular and a lot of people love it. I was never into it. I didn't like the card.
I never could get into either one of them. Like especially like with Final Fantasy, like I'm one of those like if I hit the strike, I want to strike. I don't want to have to choose an attack, hit a button, and then see how it plays out. I don't like that sort of shit. I am happy to see Lilith getting some video game love. Like I said, she has always been a cool villain of mine. But the thing that worries me is this is twice that game's been pushed back.
Yeah.
I mean, this game was supposed to come out before. It's been pushed back again. So, and I didn't realize that the other day when I was looking at our notes. I said, holy shit, I got pushed back again because that was supposed to come out spring. Then it was pushed late summer, early fall, I believe. Now it's December. So that itself is a little worrisome.
Yeah, I saw that one. Like I said, the gameplay just I don't know. It's not standing out to me, and I'm not a fan of everybody who's on that team that they put together for it. But I will definitely watch the short, and I want to see. I might get the game. It just depends. I don't know right now. From what I've seen right now, I'm probably not. And I saw they announced another game too. It's a new Captain America game set in World War II, and it's got Black Panther and Captain America forward. I don't know what it's going to be about or anything. I just saw a little bits and pieces of it.
But don't it also have where you can play with Black Panther's sister and?
I don't know.
I believe I've seen something like that, and I was
it might be, but it's going to be T'Challa's grandfather or whatever as Black Panther. So, I will say this before we move into the next section. So, you've talked a lot about your Evil Dead game and stuff. So I'm going to share this little story. I haven't even shared this with you before right now on air, so you can get a good laugh.
We got an exclusive here.
So. I'm not big on social media. Everybody who knows me knows that. I do a little bit on Instagram, and that's really about it. But we've got a couple friends of the show who are in Twitch. One of them, Hutchison, who's been there for a while, and I don't get to watch him. A lot of times he's playing during the day when I'm at work, so I can't watch it. But so
he's living his best life.
I signed up for Twitch, and I followed him, and then I followed another friend of the show, and they're trying to rebuild their channel because they lost their old one, and they're trying to rebuild it. And she was playing Evil Dead. I was like, oh, I'm going to play it. I was like, all right. So I looked because it popped up on my notification. Oh, they're playing. I was like, all right, I'll be supportive. I'll turn the phone on because I was watching TV anyway. But I was like, I can watch this and the TV because I was watching the show that was more of a documentary style. I could just listen to it. As soon as I turn on this damn thing and she's playing Evil Dead, that fucking witch pops up on the screen. It's the first thing, it just flashes across my. I was like, what the hell is this? It freaked. I squealed. I might have squealed a little bit. I might have jumped in my seat. And the person playing, I heard them go, oh shit, what is that? Because the first time they seen it, because they were just playing it for like the second or third time. That's the first time it happened. So then I had to admit to that person, I was like, I tried to watch your stream, but as soon as I turned that shit on, that thing popped up, and now I got to admit that it scared the shit out of me. It's like, good thing I wore the dark pants today. I was not expecting it. You talked about it, but I was like, damn it. As soon as I turned it on, it hit me.
So you see now what I'm talking about. It's like literally you'd be running through the woods and fucking trees would just, it's like, it's out of nowhere.
I saw that, and that didn't startle me, but when that witch's face pops up, and it's like it's like the whole screen is like play it, and the gameplay is going on, and all of a sudden, boom. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. As soon as I logged in, I was like, what the, man, come on.
That's one thing I will say, like when you're sitting there just playing, you're alone, because the controller has the speaker in there.
Yeah.
So you're focused on the TV, and then you're hearing what's on the TV speakers. But then that's coming through the the little or the chant or whatever starts coming through the controller speaker. You're like, ooh.
You hear all of that stuff on Twitch.
Yes.
When you're watching somebody play, you can hear all that background noise stuff. I was like, oh, that's
very cool.
That's a little creepy, but I was like, that didn't bother me. It was just the face popping up on the screen out of nowhere, and it was. I said I literally logged on, and then I wasn't on there more than 2 seconds, and that face popped. I was like, what in the fuck?
I don't blame
and I know it's scared to.
I know you're not a horror person, Monster.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I don't blame you right there.
And the person playing, I'm not going to say it scared them, but it startled them too. They're like, what the hell? Because you could hear their reaction. But mine was probably louder because I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, that's the thing about the game. It's not that it's just so much scary as it is. It's just you're not expecting it. Like the first time I played it, Not in a million years did I expect any of that shit. And like that, the first few times I play it, there's something different each time that you're just not looking for. So when it comes through, it's like, whoa, what the fuck was that?
Yeah,
It was funny to me when last time I played it. My daughter was here, and she got scared because they was clowning on me. Because like my fiance, she's like, "You could have heard him in here the other day." So they're like all clowning on me. So I'm not sitting there. I'm like, "Okay, keep talking shit." So I got one side, one on the other side, and then they both simultaneously get scared or spooked, startled. But the thing is, like my daughter, she's right here, so when she jumps, I automatically jump.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a mess.
So, yeah, and the bad thing is, I had to admit this to this person, and me and this person have been playing a battle of snarky, witty remarks back and forth on DM, and they're already up like 6-1 on me at the moment.
Yeah, you lost 45 cool points every month.
Yeah, so when I had to admit that, I was like, damn, that's just gonna be one more remark they're gonna get a point on me for.
Well, you can let them know Hassel also jumps, so.
Oh, well, let's get back into what we were going through now that I've had my little share story. Back on the announcements from Marvel, we do have a lot of stuff from movie and shows. I'm going to try and go through some of these quicker just so we have more time for the AEW stuff. But Fantastic Four director was named Matt Shakman, and he's done some of their other shows and movies too. I think he had some stuff to do with some of the Netflix shows as well. No news on who's being cast, and that was probably the most controversial thing I saw out of the entire weekend. I was like, you can't tell us anything.
To me, that was the biggest takeaway of the whole D3 was the fact that you got no news for Fantastic Four or X-Men.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Now, we did get some other news. Armor Wars is still coming because that was a big one that was like, you and I talked about, we thought maybe it was canceled or something because it wasn't on the SDCC timeline, but they came out and said, yes, Don Cheadle's still in it. It's still coming. I don't think they gave a date for it yet, but they said it is still in plans.
But how cool would it be if we got a Terrence Howard variant? I'm just saying.
I'm still not ready on that one.
I want to see my roadie go. Look here, man. I want that.
I just was not a fan of him in that role. I like Don Cheadle so much better.
I can't get
Captain America 4 casting. They gave some interesting news on that. The leader, I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy who played the leader in 2008, Incredible Hulk is back.
That was out of left field for me. I'm happy to see him back, and they've touched a lot on the Incredible Hulk. And anyone that hadn't watched the Incredible Hulk, go back and watch it. That movie, it really is a great movie.
It was not a bad movie. It was not as bad as people make it out to be.
No, it was actually very enjoyable for me. I enjoyed it as a Hulk fan. And the effects, I actually prefer the way that Hulk looks over the Ruffalo Hulk myself. But
yeah,
I'm not big on Edward Norton. Don't get me wrong, I'm not big on him. But that version of the Hulk was very enjoyable, and the fact that we got a leader and he's actually going to show up now, I don't really know how he ties in Captain America.
Yeah, I don't know, but I did. The other people I saw, and unfortunately I did not catch any of the actors' names, but I saw that Isaiah Bradley, who was the Black Captain America from World War II, is in it again, just like he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then the guy who is Falcon's kind of little sidekick, Joaquin Torres, is going to be in there, and they're saying he's probably going to be taking over as the new Falcon because he did in the comics as well.
Yeah, but he got a really goofy looking costume.
It
almost looked more Hispanic colored and everything. Like they went true blue. They just painted this man into.
Yeah.
We have stereotyped the shit out of you. Like I thought the Latino World Order had took over as Falcon.
So let's hit on this other one because this is one that I think disappointed you the most, and it's the Thunderbolts team announcement. So for our Thunderbolts, we've got U.S. Agent, Red Guardian, Winter Soldier, Yelena, Black Widow, Ghost, and Taskmaster. Now I've heard a lot of people complaining about it because where's Baron Zemo and where's Abomination? Because you got both these characters, and why do you need 3 great value Captain Americas? Why do you need Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, and U.S. Agent? U.S. Agent, I get.
Since they started talking about this movie, Red Hulk was teased and teased and teased. And I understand, what's, look at the cast name?
Is it, not William Hurt. It
is William. William. Shit. The guy's a great actor.
Yeah.
We know who we're talking about. You should know too, damn it. But, the guy passed away, so I get it. But you know what? okay, recast. Sam
Well-
Elliott's still alive. I mean,
Well, he
you're
wasn't-
tying everyone else from that movie back in. Bring Sam Elliott in.
He's not the only Red Hulk either. The Red Hulk from U.S. Avengers was Robert Maverick. He was another guy who got a Hulk formula, but he could only hold the Hulk form for like an hour or two at a time.
Yeah, I don't want to go that route, and I don't want my Red Hulk to have a fucking mustache.
I would have been fine with it being Abomination because he's been back and he's been in both Shang-Chi and She-Hulk. I mean,
and he was one of the bright spots of that episode of She-Hulk. I mean, if you don't enjoy him and his 12 soulmates, I mean,
it's 7.
That just wasn't that. I thought it was.
I don't remember. I think it's 7, but I don't know.
He had a great mini soulmate, is all I can say. When you have plural soulmates.
But you know, I didn't get Red Guardian because you've already got U.S. Agent, who's another version of a Captain America, and you've already got Black Widow, who's the other version of what Red Guardian could be. Winter Soldier, I can see if he's there to either keep them in line or to be the spy on the team to out what they're trying to do. But at the same time, I'd be fine with just having him a Cat 4 and leaving him out of this.
Well, I mean, he is actually a war criminal, so I'm sure it's a deal where this is where he's regaining clearing his name, so to speak, getting right with the American people. But I'm more fine with him than I am some of the others. I don't need all these great value versions on this fucking team. I don't need 45 Black Widow villains. I damn sure don't need a really generic Ant-Man villain that was actually stolen from Iron Man and degenerized into someone else. I just don't need that shit.
I don't mind Ghost being on because Ghost actually had a big role in Thunderbolts in the comics. And again, yes, they used it in Ant-Man versus Iron Man, but she wasn't a terrible cast or a terrible villain for it. I actually liked her, so I'd be fine with that one.
It was, well, I don't know. I just didn't enjoy the second Ant-Man as much. So I guess to me, she was more of a throwaway villain, cinematic wise. I mean, the character in the universe or in the books, so to speak. I mean, I like that character pretty well, but I felt that character and I actually just thought that movie in itself, honestly, was a throwaway movie, but you had to watch just to know where they were going with the next phase.
I don't know. I enjoyed that one. But I like Ant-Man as a character. I like Hank Pym better than I do Scott Lang. I mean, but let's jump ahead to the other stuff we saw. There was a couple of trailers. We got a Secret Invasion trailer. Looked cool, but at the same time, I don't know if I got enough out of it to understand what's even going on or to really. I think it'll be good, but at the same time, it's like I don't know how invested I want to be because I didn't see enough. I didn't see enough in it.
Well, there's just so many questions. Like, is the real Nick Fury? And I'm sure that's what they want you to do. Second guess everything. Did the real Nick Fury come back? Was that real Nick Fury all these years?
Yeah.
Because they've done the sleight of hand ever since, and now they're like, well, that was the one that got snapped. Wasn't the real Nick Fury? That was actually a Skrull, and that he's actually been out of space this entire time, supposedly. Or did he go after Stark died into outer space? You just don't know. And is it really him, or is it a Skrull come back? And which is what the Secret Invasion is. So I'm kind of pumped for it. I'll see where it goes. I can enjoy it. The biggest worry I have, honestly, is I don't think we're going to get any true heroes in it. It's going to just be a Nick Fury show with the guy that was the Skrull from Captain Marvel, and you'll have some Skrulls they battle that may duplicate heroes we have not seen yet's powers.
But do you think one of the Skrulls turns into David Hasselhoff Nick Fury?
I fucking hope so. I want to see the fucking Hoff. But I kind of want him laying down on the floor eating a cheeseburger. Am I wrong for that? Feeding the remnants off the floor?
Oh, that movie, Killing Hasselhoff, is on Netflix again now. I almost rewatched that the other day just for the heck of it. But outside of that, the one I was most excited for from Marvel was the Werewolf by Night trailer.
That looks so good, dude.
It does. I love the way they made it as an old school monster movie, Universal type trailer. And then I saw the Man Thing in it and a couple other cameos. I'm like, dude, I really want to see that.
When I first watched the trailer, I was worried that because you get this horror vibe. So I was like, oh shit, that's cool. But this is Disney. Surely they're not going to. But then you see an arm get thrown across and you see the silhouette of some very gruesome violence going on. And I'm like, you know what? I'm cool with that.
Well, we say okay, it's Disney, so is it really? But look at what's on Disney Plus now, because that's where this is coming, which is coming October 7th, so it's coming soon. But think about, we've got the Punisher and the Daredevil movies and all, and the Netflix shows on there. We've got so many of these other movies, like Logan's on there, Deadpool's on there.
Deadpool
Yeah.
in itself.
If they're willing to put that on there, what else will they do? Because you can set parameters where kids can't watch anything besides what you choose to. You can set parental controls on there, so I think they'll go that route.
Well, don't get me wrong. Even at its worst, it's not going to be Terrifier level by no means.
No.
But, I mean, if we can get some Friday the 13th killer, so I'm cool with that. Or at least Wolfman 2008. So, I mean.
So let's jump to Star Wars, and we'll try to go through these a little bit quicker. But announcements: Bad Batch Season 2 coming out January 4th. There was a new still, which was the only thing they showed from the Ahsoka series. I was kind of disappointed. I want to see more of that. We did get some trailers though. Mando Season 3, Mandalorian. It looks like they're delving. Looks like they're delving more into that mythology and going like to Mandalore stuff too, instead of just being all about what are we doing for Grogu plot thread, I guess.
How pumped did you get when she said you're a tribe of two? Or a clan of two, I think it might have been what she said.
Yeah, something like that. That was actually an enjoyable trailer, but I gotta be honest, I like the Tales of the Jedi trailer more because I want to see those little stories.
There's a lot of interesting things to unpack with that right there. I mean, because like I always felt that delving into Count Dooku's past, because just things we have read, about his, how powerful he truly was, the fact that he was a duelist with the saber. And you get to see a young Qui-Gon. So, I mean, that's really cool. And then the Ahsoka side, I mean, you got Anakin returning, you got Mace Windu returning, which I will admit that one of the sites got me with clickbait today, and that's what they were referencing. They said, Disney confirms Samuel L. Jackson returns as Mace Windu. I was like, oh, shit. So I'm like hitting and thinking like we're going to get, it showed like a picture of that and a picture of Ahsoka. So I'm thinking, but it's Ahsoka from Mandalorian. So I'm thinking they're confirming he's going to be in the series, like he's going to show back up. No, it was Tales of the Jedi. Well, you raggedy son of a bitches.
The only thing that gets me about the Tales of the Jedi stuff, especially because I want to see the Dooku and Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon was Dooku's apprentice. I mean, I want to see all that stuff, but the thing that gets me is it's only 6 shorts. I'm like, so how long is the short? And you're only giving me 6 episodes. I want a full animated series of that, really.
I'm thinking we're going to get 6 30-minute episodes.
I'd be surprised if they're 30 minutes. I think they're going to be 10 to 20 at max.
Oh, are they going the I Am Groot route?
I don't think they'll be that short, but they're calling them short, so they're not going to be a full-length series.
It'd be interesting to see. I mean, my only worry is I hope they don't portray Dooku too dark, because he wasn't. I mean, him and Qui-Gon both were great Jedi. Is pretty much how you get that. I don't feel like he had been seduced up by the dark side at this point by no means, but it does lead you into the show. Him going to the water planet to start the clone army. They showed the lady that he dealt with for all that there. So I hope they don't portray him like he was already a Sith while still training up Qui-Gon, because I just feel like Qui-Gon was too
No, well, Qui-Gon,
not to pick up on that.
Yeah, but you got to remember that he probably had some of that already in him, because Qui-Gon was basically taught to be more of a gray Jedi and be like, okay, I agree that we shouldn't do this evil stuff, but I don't really agree with everything the council says, so I'm not even going to take a seat on the council. So we'll see. But Star Wars adjacent stuff, we did get, there was a panel for Indiana Jones 5. I don't know what they actually taught. They just teased a little bit of it, and Harrison Ford said, this is it. This is my last one. And then did you see the picture where he actually, for the first time since, what was it, Temple of Doom? Was that the one it was?
84.
Yeah, where he meets Short Round, or the guy who plays Short Round, because he was there promoting something else, and they were just like, holy crap.
I got more pumped for that than I did the announcement of a new Indiana Jones. Just seeing those.
I did too.
That was like really cool. I forget the guy. He was actually there for another show. At something he's got going on.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
Bump into one another. It was really.
It's the first time they've seen each other in like 20, 30 years, whatever it is at this point.
At least 35.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And And then, yeah, I know. The last trailer that I caught and that we had in our news notes was the Willow trailer for the new series. That premieres on November 30th, and I am excited to watch that because I've got to go back and because the kid has not seen the movie. He's like, I know what it is, but I haven't watched it, so we're gonna have to go back and watch that first. And I didn't see anything in the trailer I saw, but I did hear that, and you know, he can't be in the entire thing because of his cancer and all, but Val Kilmer is actually in part of it, makes a cameo in it as his character at some point.
I have to see Val Kilmer into that. That's literally what I was just saying, thinking was, you have to work him into it some way. Yeah, he can't be a regular. I get it because the technology they used for his talking is literally a computer program that just picks words from various movies he's done. So,
but they're saying he's going to have a cameo in it. But that, it was not none of that was shown in the trailer, which I get.
Give me 5 minutes with him, or maybe they just cross paths and he wishes him well. He goes on his new journey or something like that. Maybe tells him he's too old to save his little ass this time. But
yeah. So I am excited for that one. But we spent a lot of time on D23. We want to make sure we got time for this other news. So let's jump straight over to the AEW. Implosion.
It's a mess, monster.
I don't know what else to call it at this point.
It is a mess.
So we can't explain and go through every single bit of it because it's gotten to be too big at this point. But why don't you, Hassel, because I know you've looked at it more and probably are more in tune with it than I am. Why don't you tell us, or break down something of it of what's the big overview, and then we'll go from there.
Well, it started supposedly a couple months back. Hangman made some comments during a promo, which to me in itself is the fact that Punk has been such a bitch to take a promo personal, him of all people, the Mic Bomb master, to take a promo. Like, he buried Kevin Nash out there and many others, but just because Kevin Nash said that in an interview one time, he said, I was literally told not to say anything. I was just to go out there and look menacing, and he buries the shit out of me, and I'm just standing looking goofy. He says, so he's like, so what I do? But so for him to take such offense to one or two lines of Hangman done, so he embarrassed him a few weeks prior. He does the business with Moxley, and they have, a pretty decent match from what I can see. He gets the win. It was nothing to right home about, but at the same time, I've seen far worse. I mean, it was about a good 3.5 stars. I'll give it that. So you put that belt on this prick. You go to the little medium skirm or whatever the hell they call it. It's just press conference. And he literally just sits there next to the owner of the company for 20 minutes bashing the fuck. And it was premeditated because, he literally it was almost like he had promoted this thing out in a car. There's certain members of the press that, he felt like supposedly the EVPs had spoon-fed some information to. So he starts attacking this guy. The whole time, the owner's sitting beside him, just getting his balls clipped.
And says not a word.
No, he's literally just like, the whole time this jackoff's doing this. So he literally runs down, the EVPs, Hangman Page, the pillars of the company. The only other pillar that isn't there is Cody and MJF, who he should have been, focusing on building a very, very meaningful feud with, who would return that night into a massive pop. And the end of the show that way, it was a great ending to the show because, Punk celebrating in the ring, and all of a sudden the devil shows up. He unmasks. It's MJF, throws a scarf on. It was a great spot. It's like, holy shit, I can't wait Wednesday to see where this goes. And then Punk ruins it all. And he ruins it all. He sits and just bashes the shit out of these people. Well, of course, they take great offense to this. Who wouldn't? If I call your manhunt into question, you going to come to my locker room, monster? Obviously so. So the problem when lies is they are on paper as executive vice presidents of this company. So essentially, you have a disgruntled employee, another disgruntled employee that's his bitch, and their dog in there, a couple wives. 3 EVPs show up, knocking on the door, pissed off, obviously. Can't blame them. They go in, it escalates from there. It's more and more rumors have come out, but apparently what is seemingly, I've listened to a few podcasts, even Kevin Nash confirmed a few things. Punk threw the first lick. I guess they come in there questioning.
Yeah.
Punk throws a lick, knocks one of the Bucks the fuck out. By that time, Ace Steel throws a fucking chair at the other one, hits him in the eye. Kenny Omega starts becoming a bitch. He grabs the dog and tries to get the dog out of there. And somehow or another, Ace Steel bites Kenny Omega and folds him the fuck up. Ace Steel just like, he's John Wick in every fucking body. Because, really the only thing I heard Punk doing was throwing the one lick, which he started the whole thing. But these are the vice presidents of your company. Which is where lies the problem, because now you literally had the three guys that just won your trios titles that are first trios champions and your new AEW champion. You had to start off Dynamite by stripping them of their title and announcing matches to replace them as champion. So you not only just fuck any momentum you just built this pay-per-view, you fuck MJF because now he's coming back for a feud with Punk. You know how huge that would have been? Now he's going to face probably Moxley again. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
And sadly, the Lucha Brothers, who they should have been pushing this whole time in Pac, they only got the trios titles out of the fact that these three jerks wanted to go play fucking vigilante. It's just a mess there. And the more you read, it just gets worse and worse. Apparently, the Bucks and Omega have sent feelers out to WWE. Now they're doing damage control, saying they never did.
Yeah.
But apparently, people within WWE have leaked. Yeah, they felt out to us. And apparently, some of them were back before this ever escalated. Like literally 2 weeks before the fight, they had already started filling out could they go there. And I don't know if it's through Cody or what, but.
So I've, again, there's always new details being given. So I'm going to throw my 2 cents in of, I think Punk was fair in calling out the fact that there is no leadership in the company and nobody is. So I get his point of, okay, you guys are bad mouthing me and leaking stuff to the press, and some of the stuff that was leaked about the Colt Cabana thing and him trying to get fired, you know that had to come from somebody who was in a leadership position.
Yeah, I guess. Well, some of those guys aren't happy he's there. Because that's the spot that they covet,
And those guys, all Buck and all those, and Bucks Omega, they're all in that same camp with Colt Cabana. They're good friends with him, so I can see where that he might have assumed that came from them, but. Nobody's shutting any of that stuff down. Nobody's in charge telling them what to do. So I get his point on that. Now, should you have gone out and done that in front of the entire press and with the boss sitting right there? No.
There's a time and place for things, and that would go into your business in front of yourself with the owner sitting there. Because had he been sitting next to Vince McMahon, what do you think would have happened?
Oh, Vince would have shut the stuff off, told him to get the hell out of the room.
Yeah, very, very quickly, Vince would have shut that shit down. Which is the problem there, and a new thing I read today is that they're actually toying with the idea of making Jim Ross head of talent relations there. He's done that for WWF for years. So the idea of letting Jim Ross be talent relations and trying to salvage what you can salvage. Don't get me wrong. You'll never get Punk, Hangman, Omega, any of these guys in the ring together.
No.
Which is sad because, I almost feel like Hangman's he's getting the worst end of the stick on this shit because he had to jerk the curtain on Dynamite and drop the fall to Daniel Bryan. I don't know, there's no shame of dropping the fall to Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan doesn't need another world title. Daniel Bryan does not need to bounce in a tournament that he may probably lose in. Hangman needs this.
So my other thing is that, all these guys who were supposed to be in charge of this company whether they went to the room and kicked in the door, pushed the door, whatever they did, they were not completely unculpable in the fight. So,
no.
If this had been any other job, if this had been any other job, any other industry, every one of these people would be under investigation and probably fired. They would all be suspended like they are there. But, and it wasn't just, and more that I've seen, it wasn't just those three that went there. Apparently, they had Brandon Cutler, whatever his name is, with them.
Yeah,
they had Michael Nakazawa with them. Christopher Daniels, I understand Christopher Daniels being suspended for the investigation, but supposedly he showed up and tried to break it all up.
Yeah, he was an innocent bystander. They said this fight went on for 6 minutes. 6 minute fucking fight. That's a long fight, dude.
The only way
I mean,
that
or
only,
a long skirmish. Let's put it that way. That's a long
the
skirmish.
only way that thing went on for 6 minutes with the Bucks and Omegas if they were doing the slap
You know
fight.
what? It reminds me so much of the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels hair pulling incident, where they sit there and spat on one another and talk shit to one another, and then Bret finally grabs him by the hair and throws him across the room.
Yeah.
Then he goes running, screaming at Vince about unsafe work environment. It screams that from the '90s.
Yeah.
It is. It's.
I
looking
think,
back, Vince should have fired Shawn's ass in and kept Bret. He'd have had a more dependable hand. He'd got rid of his troubles at the time.
you say that, I would have got rid of all of them. Just because you can't make an
I don't
example
think
out of
Punk is
one.
doing any favors for this locker room. Like, literally, I read an article just before we recorded tonight. Bobby Fish, you know, whether you're a fan of the Undisputed or not, I actually think it's pretty solid talent myself. I'm not a big Undisputed person just because I don't really care for, you know, Adam Cole. I did care for him. I did like him and Red Dragon, the little tag team there. But he's a good talent. He went on and was talking about how, you know, he's actually a martial artist, like a legit martial artist. Well, he had a match with CM Punk, and he said, you know, I went out there and I did the job like a professional, like I'm supposed to. He said, apparently there was a spot in the match that didn't go particularly how Punk cared for. So when they come to the back, he said he went to shake his hand, and he said Punk not only wouldn't shake his hand, but he talked shit to him. And he said he was just thinking to himself, he said, I could have folded you up, you like you're the bitch that you are, you're a little fucking cunt, but I didn't. Because I'm a professional and I do what he said. I'm a legit martial artist. I could have fucked you up, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And you're going to come at me this way right here. And the next thing you know, he is no longer with AEW.
Yeah. They just let his contract expire.
Yeah, which is crazy. You spent all this money, like literally, you spent all the money for Adam Cole. You only brought him and O'Reilly in there for Undisputed. But no matter what you call them.
They just started an angle where they turned on the other Elite because they were supposedly part of them, and they turned on them. So
and then a couple of them got hurt at the same time.
Died because he left 2 weeks after that.
O'Reilly and Adam Cole got hurt at the same time. So I guess it just let Bobby Fish just flounder now. Yeah. But when they both get healthy, do you want to bring them back? If I was him, I'd tell them to fuck off. I'm pretty sure Triple H would be happy to hire him back.
I'm sure he will.
He's piece by piece bringing his people back anyways. And they stand to be the greatest to come out of this because they're just sitting back and watching Tony Khan's making stupid comments daily of how much money his daddy's got and how much money he's willing to spend. Triple H is playing with house money right now. He don't have to spend anything. He's got it.
Not only that, but Tony's saying all that. But I was listening to some other articles and reviews, and they were talking about how they hit that million audience again at the very beginning of the Dynamite right after the pay-per-view for everybody to find out what was going to happen with Punk and the Bucks and Omega.
They hit 1.25 actually.
But by the end of the show, they lost over a third of the audience.
Yeah.
And that's when. So all that stuff for him to say, oh, well, we got all the money to do all this. You got the money to do all that, but you're still shooting yourself in the foot, and your audience is dropping every episode.
That was the first time I hit over a million viewers in almost a year, I believe it was.
But it only lasted for the first third of the show. After the first third of the show, it continually dropped.
Yeah, once they realized that they were not going to touch on it, they were going to ignore it, and that they were just going to try to sweep it on the rug. Like, even at the beginning of the show, John Moxley said, I'm going to kick the crap out of you. So the fans are already like, oh, John Moxley don't say, I'm going to kick the crap out of you. That's where the network stepped in and told them they had to curb the language back from a few weeks back. So the training wheels are on. The parents are watching. You know the network can't be happy with this because they got to know, okay, you people are opening yourself up for litigation. Doesn't look good for us, the parent company.
Well, and the whole thing that I heard today, and this is the first time I had heard it, was so you know, Tony always says his right-hand person is Mega, whatever her name is, the lawyer that's she's in charge of all the legal form and also the HR.
She was with him.
Apparently she was with him when they went to the locker room.
Yeah.
Like she went in there like she was going to confront him. Why was she not the first one through the door to talk to him about what you did was wrong from a legal and HR standpoint? And if she walks in the door first, do you think the fight even ensues? Because Punk's not going to throw a punch at her.
No.
He ain't that dumb. Whether he likes her or not, he ain't dumb enough to start that fight because he's going to lose in the legal field on that one.
that would have been the route to go for her to go in and say, look, you just, from a legality standpoint, you just went out there and talk shit about all your bosses. You made your owner look like a fucking idiot. You realize you just opened yourself up not only for termination, but for, and I know what he's thinking. I got the strap. What are you going to do? Which is a very 90s mentality.
It's a territory mentality.
Yeah, I mean, it don't matter anymore. The only thing is, it just makes the promotion look terrible because, I mean, every time somebody gets this belt, it gets a tournament turns up a few weeks later. To crown a new fucking champion.
Or out.
Somebody's little ass is hurt, suspended, something. So, I mean, we literally just had a fucking tournament to crown an interim champion 2 months ago.
So,
he defends it 3 times, does a squash match against Punk, and then drops the belt. Now you're in a tournament again.
And I heard somebody say today, and I'm sure that this mentality is there, is like, well, this ain't the first time a fight like that's broken out backstage between the talent and stuff. You're right, it's not. But guess what? The world has changed since that happened in 1984 in the territories. Now you can get sued for looking at somebody cross-eyed now.
This very much happened on the regular back in the day when you had Cowboy Bill Watts running the territory.
Yeah,
and he would make the talent fight each other. But literally, they Butch Reed and might have been Bob Orton. They had a fight backstage, and when he caught wind of it, he brought them to his office and made them fight each other to get it out of their system, and told them that, look, one of 2 things is going to happen: you're going to fight each other, and then you're going to be able to work together afterwards. I'm going to fire both of you. But it's not 1984 anymore.
Well, it's not even.
There's literally, if they fire Punk at this point, they're opening themselves up to $50 million worth of litigation.
However, if he threw the first punch and they've got enough of a legal team, and Tony's got enough money for a good legal team, I guarantee you they could probably get out of most of that.
He'll win in the end, but it's not going to look good as a company.
No,
it'll look worse than it did, honestly, when Punk and WWE was going back and forth for 2 years, I think, over his bullshit back injury.
I have always said that as good as he is in the ring on the mic, Punk is out for himself.
He's not worth the drama. He's
out for himself. He believes his own hype. He thinks that he is that important and that good, and that you can't survive without him. And I honestly think the Bucks and Omega think the same thing, but I also think that they're also realizing we're not really the stars of this show anymore. We've been overshadowed by all the people we've brought in, and
that's a lot of it right there. I mean, Monster, I mean, when Punk came in, I was probably one of the people hollering the loudest. I mean, it was like, holy shit, this is exciting again. Yeah. You never thought you'd see him again. 7 years ago, all of a sudden you never see him again. Not in wrestling. But he is worse than Shawn Michaels 96, 97. He is not worth the backstage bullshit he brings. And you got your talents that do love him. I mean, no wrong. When he first came in, he was helping some talents. He was building some guys up, establishing him. He done a great job with MJF. He helped FTR, give them a lot of credibility. It was several times. Darby Allin, Sting, a few guys he elevated up a little bit and helped. Wardlow. But then it's like at some point in the last 6 months, he just said, you know what? I'm king shit again. And then some guys didn't like that. I don't think Chris Jericho's as big a fan of it as he lets it on.
I don't even know if it's so much of that, or if it's the fact of if he's one of those people that if he likes you, he tries to build you up and you're in his camp. And if he doesn't necessarily like you or take to you right away, look at the guys from WWE that spoke out against him after all this came out. Like Kevin Owens, like, hey, there's the Punk I know and love. Just a smart ass comments like that.
Booker T was like the first one that I was like, I kind of raised my eyebrows when he was like, yeah, that's a guy I used to share a locker room with. I mean, it was like that right there was the truest sentiment to me. Because Booker T is one of those that you just feel like this cat's real. He about as real as you get. You feel like, there's several times you could tell he didn't compromise his morals for certain things.
But think about him.
When he said, I was like,
since you brought him up, let's use him as an example. Him and Batista backstage fight, very public backstage fight. However, it happened backstage. Nobody was sued. Nobody was seriously injured. They went out there and did their job together, even though they didn't like each other. Eventually, got over it.
They worked together.
But now, these guys can't even have a disagreement. Can't even go talk to each other. They go in the room and start fights with each other. It's like, was this the best time for them to go talk to him right after he did all that? Was it? Yeah.
Well, one of the differences you have Vince McMahon running WWE.
Yeah,
I mean, Vince McMahon could talk a fucking Eskimo into buying ice, but let's just be honest, or at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This was what, 10, 15 years ago. So that Vince McMahon could call on a lady with white gloves and buy ketchup. I mean,
and even now,
he was that good.
and
So
10 years ago,
he
even
can
though
make people work together or come back that didn't want to. Tony
Okay.
Khan's not going to do it. Tony Khan's will get them crazy eyes. You can't take this, my daddy got money.
he does
Nobody
not like
cares.
he does not like confrontation unless he can do it anonymously or from a distance. Like he can yell, "I got money, I got money, I can compete with WWE," and I don't like them. But when his people start arguing in front of him, or like when the fans booed him the other night when he came out and got booed, he got very reserved real quick. It's like, he does not like in-person confrontation.
He doesn't handle any of that very well. You can tell in certain interviews or where he tries to get defensive. And when he gets defensive, he says stupid, unthought out things. What they need to do is the first thing they could do to damage control this, with all of them right now, I would just say as a company, okay, Tony, you're the wallet. If you want to help with creative, great. However, right now, Jim Ross, you are head of talent. You take care of contracts, you take care of disputes, you do the peacekeeping. Tony, other than some creative, that's all you do. You don't get in front of a camera, you don't speak to the press, you shut your fucking Twitter down. I'd shut his Twitter down faster than Donald Trump's. Just that quick.
Before you jump any further ahead, do you really think Jim Ross wants that job though? Because listen to him announce, like even when he's out there announcing sometimes now he's like he is just degrading them without actually degrading them. He's like, oh look at that. It's like, wow, you are so uninterested.
Dude, do you listen to Grill and JR or any on the podcast?
Occasionally I get bits and pieces, not the whole thing.
I don't listen to as many of them as I used to, but like literally, they just done a big thing for money for Mongo because Mongo's battling what is that, the where all your shit shuts down.
Yeah.
So they're trying to raise up money for him, and they was like literally, and he just sounded like he was drunk on stage, and he was just literally like talking shit the whole time. Cause like he literally said, I'm still in the business, damn it. I got shit to do. Like he's just making comments like, and he's trying to be funny a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, damn dog, you taking a crack at a major boy. I mean, but he's like, he makes things. He's like, hey, all right, Conrad, you got all the fucking money, go over there and do it. So I can just imagine how he would be at this point in the game. I mean, does he have it in him? But if he does, that's who I would appoint.
Oh yeah,
easily because he's got the experience and know-how. If he has the desire.
Yeah, the whole thing is a mess, and I don't think they come out of it. If they don't make a lot of big changes in just the leadership and somebody being in charge, they're never going to come out of it, and you're going to see them go to the way of WCW at the end.
Well, first of all, you don't need all these EVPs. You don't. You need one person, which is what made WWF work like it did.
Right.
Everybody knew Vince was the boss. Now, if you couldn't persuade him, you could sometimes go persuade Pat or Bruce or somebody who could go persuade him. Because, they said that he was very much one of those that a certain handful, and that's actually what I've read a lot. People have put out here lately. It's like, Wade no longer really has, Pat, and you don't really appreciate just how much Pat did,
Yeah.
And swaying him like, hey, look, that's not a good idea. He don't really have that filter anymore because Bruce is a yes man. Maybe before he got fired 30 times, he might not have been a yes man. But he's been fired 30 fucking times in the last 5 years. So at this point, this motherfucker wants to throw a check. He's not going to tell Vince no to shit.
No.
So you don't have that filter there anymore for Vince, which is why some of the shit that probably got filtered in the past, these goon type gimmicks, are leaking on the screen now, and it's not good. So he had to come out. So I think Tony Khan needs someone like that, and if he doesn't have that, obviously, he needs to pass the reins to someone else and let them ride his company. Because if he doesn't, they will be very WCW'd. Because right now they know they can go to Omega, nibble, he's gonna give them something. and go to the Bucks, nibble, nibble, nibble. They get them something. I mean, it's
Yeah.
too many hands in the kitchen. I mean, you can't cook it that way.
And too many hands in there that's also trying to get themselves over and get.
Well, they're very self-serving.
Yeah. I mean, this is not, if you've got Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks or even Cody when he was there as your executive vice president, and they're supposed to be building all the other talent, doing all this other stuff, yet they're also on the show, who do you think they're going to put the most effort and energy into their segments? Their own.
Typically. I will give Cody that. I mean,
he was better than the rest of them, but you still saw times where.
Yeah, but I mean, he was probably the most selfless out of them by far.
Oh,
he put over talent that he didn't have to put over talent. He took himself completely out of the title picture where he could never have another title match after very early on.
He did some of those. I said he was the best out of all of them, but at the same time, how long did he have that other title, their secondary title for the time? And he single-handedly fixed racism in Georgia. I mean,
there you go.
And won a war with Europe, I guess, at the same time. I don't know. There was just
but look at what happened
stuff.
when he got out of the mix. I mean, people can knock him all they want, but look what happened once he got out. He
was probably the only one backstage keeping things somewhat in control.
Well, if you got a friends group, there's a certain dynamic. Like with our group, 4 or 5 of us, we all had a certain dynamic, and certain ones keep other friends in check. So without him in that mix there, is there no one to keep the rest of them regulated?
I mean, yes, and the same thing, just like you said, our friends group. So if you took our little small friends group of 4 to 6 of us or whatever, if we were running a company, which one of us is probably going to be in charge of HR and legal stuff?
You.
Probably going to end up being me, but I had the most experience of that.
You don't want hassle in that role there.
But I mean, there's just ways you handle that. Go talk to them and coach people and stuff, and none of that's happening over there. So, but with that, we've got a little close on time. So, any final thoughts on that you want to share on the AEW stuff before we move into Nerd Out? Or
it's a mess.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna tune in each week. I'm not a big fan of that. I thought I'd rather have seen one match to determine a champion myself versus the bullshit tournament because I don't want to
just had one.
Yeah,
we just had 2 tournaments, one for the trios title and for the interim champion.
I'm a fan of one night tournaments. By the way, the original
King of the Ring,
where you had a 2.5 hour pay-per-view and you had 8 matches to determine the King of the Ring. I'm fine with that. If you want to dedicate a Raw to that or a Dynamite, so be it.
Or if you
I don't like drawn out weeks at a time shit. I mean, like it literally just took on WWE. I mean, look, you turn the channel. It took them 2 months to crown tag champions.
Yeah,
for the females. So you literally just had this shit on your own program. You turn the channel, and your crowd watches the other channel, whether you want to admit it or not. They just sit through fucking 2 months of that shit for the females. No one wants to see this shit again. At least with the Trios Championship, you were smart enough to have a one match. And where the damn best friends come into it at, other than the fact they're fans' favorites, I don't fucking know. Because you'd have thought that, Dark Order and Hangman would have been there since they were the team that they fucking fought in the finals. But you had Hangman in the title tournament, so I don't know. It's a mess. We'll see how it lands out. I mean, tomorrow night's AEW night, so we'll see. And I always get hyped up and enjoy AEW, so I'm not just knocking on because I'm a fan. I know you're not so much, but I am actually a fan since day one. But
and even though I'm not, I don't want to see them go away. I think the competition is good for WWE. I think there's some stuff that just if they fix some stuff, I would probably be more of a fan. It's just I've always felt like they have been directionless just because they don't have a single direction they're going in. It's just like multiple stories happening everywhere, and half of them have the same ending. I'm like, why would I watch that? That's been my thing.
Some of it is poor storytelling, though. They've backed talents, and when it was right time to get the other talent, like, literally, you had Punk and Daniel Bryan debut almost simultaneously, which is a huge splash for the company. But both of these men should have moved in the world title picture immediately.
They should have.
For them to make the most, but how do you do that with the two of them? Now, Daniel Bryan were to win the title. I mean, if you wanted him to win the title, the perfect time to do it when he was doing his heel run back in December.
Yeah, why would you have even took him out of that? Why would you have put him in this group and just lost him? There's still a lot to come, I'm sure, because we don't even have all the story now. I mean, an investigation's still underway. I think the best thing they could do for their investigation is get rid of everybody who was involved in the backstage skirmish and just say, okay, we're going to start fresh from here. And
Kenny Omega's literally
here's
in
the
Japan
leadership,
right now.
and that's it.
Yeah, he was at the Sega Con or something. Like literally posted a picture yesterday, I think it was.
I mean, dude, if he was other than the fact that he's one of the guys that Tony Khan became friends with and started the company with, how this dude has an EVP job anywhere. He's wasted $9 million and asked for more on a video game that's been under development for 3 years. Anybody else would be fired for that.
And your top fucking tag team that doesn't make the cut, FTR, cut from the game.
You know,
that's
there was
top
more
tag team in the. Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors about the Bucks not wanting.
But at the same time, no matter what, $9 million on a game, and you're selling it at what, $60 a pop when you sell it.
You're not making that money back.
No, you're not. And even if it's to build a platform like WWE 2K, 2K where they do one every year, they probably lost on the first 2 or 3 and then started making more. But I don't know how you're going to continue that with this group if they can't even put together one game in 5 years or whatever, 3 years, whatever it's been at this point. But with that, let's we're getting tighter on time, so we'll go ahead and move into Nerd Out. So for anybody who hasn't been here with us before, this is where we ask random questions about the topics of the day. We don't typically share these questions with each other or have time to put together our answers. I will say that I think I sent Hassel an agenda with mine on there if he actually bothered to read that far, so he got a chance to read them ahead of time this time. Usually I don't do that for him.
Options. I
was in a rush when I put it together. So, but if you guys want to share your comments below on what our answers are, or if you just want to give your answers, feel free to do that in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And since I've already put mine out there, I'm going to go ahead first, Hassel. So I'm going to jump back to the D23 part of the news, and I just want to know, what was your biggest excitement or anticipation coming out of it, and what was the biggest disappointment for you?
Biggest disappointment by far was the lack of X-Men or Fantastic Four news.
See, I had the exact same thing. Mine was more Fantastic
X-Men,
Four.
as much as I would have loved to have heard it, but you just almost knew we were going to lot for the cast of Fantastic Four.
I thought we'd get Fantastic Four because X-Men is still even 2 more years out, and they can't use the Fox cast because of legal stuff and all. So I didn't expect anything coming out of it, but Fantastic Four I kind of did.
That was a bummer, so to speak. I don't know, probably positive wise. Werewolf by Night surprised me.
That was mine as well. I was
sold on that.
Yeah, just I loved how they did the classic style monster movie, and I put the Midnight Suns shorts in there as well because we're starting to get into the supernatural side of Marvel, and I really like a lot of that stuff, and I'd like to see more of it. But I was really turned on by that Werewolf by Night trailer. I was like, man, that looks really good. I really want to see that now.
Well, for mine, I actually had a D3. I literally wrote a D3. I always, when I print your thing out and I make notes. So I literally wrote my question down and I looked below us in your options and I was like, holy shit, these are very eerily similar. Because I had what D3 announcement did you wish we had gotten? So I showed a tour, seeing as it's too close. If you were able to go in and say Tony Khan hires you tomorrow, I'm gonna go the AEW route. Tony Khan hires you tomorrow and tells you, okay, I want you to fix my company. You got money, you got authority, do what you need to do. What do you do?
I think the first thing I do is figure out how I get rid of everybody who was involved in the whole setup and everything leading up to that whole skirmish and stupidity. I mean, and I think you sit down with the rest, after you do that, then you sit down with the rest of the time and say, look, none of you are indispensable. You saw what just happened. Now I'm here to help you reach your full potential because that's what I want you to do. But we're not going to go down that route again. And you've got some there that I think have a lot of potential, but they need to be controlled somewhat. Like, for instance, Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin. I actually like both of those, and I think they do a good job in the ring. But at some point, y'all got to slow down on the stuff you're doing, or you ain't going to make it another 5 or 10 years because you're going to be like Jeff Hardy and be popping so many pills, you're going to be in rehab or you're going to be dead, 1 to 2. I mean, I saw where Darby Allin was doing stunts at home. I built this big pit of whatever, like a jumping ramp in his backyard with stuff, and jumped over his house on his motorcycle or whatever. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? You realize you break every bone in your body, you've just destroyed your entire livelihood. And you kiss that house you got right there goodbye."
Yeah, because he's literally 6 months out of being out of the business, out of being out of a home. He hasn't made it that big yet. I mean, and Jim Cornette probably said it best with Sammy Guevara is he has a very slappable face. Because the average man would slap him into fucking next week.
He's really good for a heel character. However, you got to stop doing
he makes you want to hate him, man. I mean,
you got to stop doing the moves that you want everybody to pop for, because that's not a heel. You got to play your part. And I think you just have to restructure their whole leadership. I mean, that's what I would do, is restructure their leadership and say, okay, here's talent, here's creative, here's who's going to set the stories, and stop letting everybody dictate their own story and write the same story. Like, okay, we're going to have a disqualification in this match, and then the next 5 matches have it the same way because nobody else has an original idea. That would be me.
Not bad, not bad. I'm pretty similar. First thing I do is I wouldn't have taken the job unless I told Tony Khan, "You're nothing but a wallet. I'm open to your creative ideas, but you are nothing but a wallet." If he agreed to that, then I would move on. You can't fire a Punk and not fire the Bucks and Omega.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too.
Firing Punk, you've lost nothing because he's not going back to WWE. I promise you. They don't fucking want him. There's a reason why you got him in the first place. Money aside, it wasn't a dick measuring contest. You got him because they didn't fucking want him, and they don't want him now. Triple H does not want his headache. They'll allow him back at some point for a Hall of Fame, and that'll be it.
Well, and look at what Eric Bischoff said about him, and he was absolutely right. He is not the return on investment that everybody says he was. Now, was he the biggest return on investment for AEW? Sure. In all of wrestling? Not even close.
He was not the equivalent of Hogan going to WCW.
No.
It just wasn't.
Well, and he can't stay healthy either. How many times has he been out hurt already?
His little ass gets hurt every time he turns around. And don't get me wrong, you don't want to lose the Bucks and Omega to WWE, which was what would happen. However, you have to from a backstage point of view. First of all, you can't fire one without the other because you do open yourself with some litigation. If you fire everybody, hey, we just fired our fucking EVPs. They started
equal opportunity. Shit. We told all of you about.
Yeah. And then you go, like you said, to your locker room, you clear your house. Hey, look, nobody's expendable. You just seen we fired 3 EVPs and our world champion. We want you guys here. We want to make a safe environment for you guys. Where our Jim Ross is now head of talent relations. His office is open. Let us know how we can help you, but this is the way things are. I am the guy. You will come to me. You go to Jim Ross if you have an issue with talent. You want something creative-wise, you come to me, and I make the yays or nays. And then I would probably hire Kevin Dunn, because let's be honest, he's not long for his days in WWE. But I would tell him from day one, I want you from a production standpoint only. You have shit to do with creative. Nothing. You are production. You are to elevate our production to where we don't look like WCW. We look like WWE.
Yep.
Because whether you want to say you're not them or not, their production, even when WCW was on top, you could just tell the difference in the two shows.
Oh, the camera work, the packages that they put together.
That's the thing right there. It's the cameras, it's the sound, it's the presentation. I don't want sports entertainment, but at the same time, they just look better on TV.
Dude, nobody can do a what has come before package better than WWE.
So I think they really need that there, and so I would hire them for that. I put Tony Schiavone over the announcers. I would probably take Jim Ross off announcing altogether, just because, God bless him, he's the sound of wrestling. But he comes off worse than Gordon Sold at this point. He's very raspy, and you could just tell he's salty and wore out.
Yeah.
I would literally only use Tony for interviews here or there, because he does get a pop here or there, and he could be your Mean Gene.
Yeah.
I I would very, very rarely use Jim Ross on camera. Taz would stay on commentary because Taz is really good. I'm not big on Excalibur. I can stomach him.
I'd let him go. I can't stand him.
Yeah, well, but I mean, who do you replace him with at this point? I mean, unless you brought Mike Tenay back. I would be a fan of Taz and Mike Tenay. Them two together could be a very good combo.
And here's my biggest thing with Excalibur is he goes to talking about all this stuff like all the backstory. Oh, there's Will Ospreay and Aussie Open and okay, who are they? If I've never watched Japanese wrestling, I don't know. But Mike Tenay will explain to you who they are.
I'm as huge a pro wrestling fan as they come, and even I don't know some of these New Japan guys, and they're bad about that. Oh, there's so and so. Who the fuck is so and so? I recognize them at face recognition just because of the fact that I see pictures on Instagram. Because I mean, I see pictures in fucking Japanese that aren't translated on my fucking page because I follow the Great Muda.
Yeah.
So face recognition, I got them, but I don't know who the fuck they are. Their significance.
But somebody can come out there and there's Timmy. Doesn't he live down the road? I don't know who Timmy is.
Is that little Jody down there?
Yeah.
Is he breaking eggs?
Mike Tenay will actually explain to you, well, that's a 5-time IWGP champion, and start breaking it down. Excalibur.
Yeah, Tenay is not one I had thought of, but you got a great point there, Monster. I mean, him and Taz, they got some chemistry.
There's another guy who announced a lot of Japanese wrestling too. That's a great one for explaining stuff. His name's not Kevin Kelly, is it? I can't remember.
Kevin Kelly was a former WWF guy.
Yeah, there's another one that's actually really good, like Mike Tenay. I can't think of his name off the top of my head now.
But I mean, they got some routes there, but that's how I would fix things. And you really need to get back to establishing some of your non-former WWF talent. I'm not saying start making them job out Daniel Bryan by no means, but I mean, you really need to get a good title run out of Daniel Bryan to get your investment back on him before he goes out with Franken brain mush and becomes Chris Benoit. But
there's two more things I would probably do too, and I didn't think of them until you were talking. But I would let Chris Jericho's contract lapse because he is not building. He works with the younger guys only to keep himself on top, not because he's getting them over. I would let his contract run out, let him go because he's not helping you. He's not hindering you, but he's not helping you. And I would say let's get rid of all tag teams. I'm perfectly fine with, but we got to get rid of some of these factions because every tag team and every person on this roster is in a faction somewhere.
Yeah.
Why? Why is nobody alone? Why is there no individual tag teams?
The comedic ones, especially like Dark Order, you spend a lot of time and effort trying to fix them with Brody Lee. Brody Lee come in and try to make them serious.
And that was
started establishing them. He passed away, unfortunately. And all of a sudden, they become baby faces, and they start doing the stupid shit again. And then, God bless, I don't know why poor Hangman got saddled with them.
I don't know, but
that was not a favor to him.
But you got them. You got House of Black. You got
Malachi Black's gone now. So what do they do with them?
Andrade's little group or whatever that he keeps trying to hire Sting's little boy for.
That is probably the worst waste of fucking talent right there, Andrade.
Yeah, I would just cancel all those. I was like, let's just get rid of all these.
And
let's
I even
one
like
or two
that
factions.
Bush guy that's with him. I kind of like him. He's like a believable badass, character. But I mean, I don't like him. I dig the black mask deal he's got, but I don't like the fucking suit and wrestling in the goddamn pinstripe pants. I mean, what the fuck, dude? You're a credible athlete. Come on. Get your fucking ass in some tights and quit being Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah.
So he wrestled in blue jeans for 3 years. I hated that shit.
Oh. But with that, just because we are tight on time, let's call this an episode and start our closing. But before we get out of here, let's do, like always, and give a few shout outs to some of our friends. We got Mr. Daniel Garcia, Zyber Ronan. Any update on when that's shipping? Because I think he was getting close to having the whole book ready for publication last time we talked, actually.
He was. And you know what? Honestly, me and him had a discussion yesterday about a future project, and I did not think to ask him when Zyber Ronan was shipping. So I apologize.
It still should be soon regardless.
Yeah, it's very soon.
So be on the lookout for that. And as well, as Hassel just said, they are working on some future projects to flesh out that universe. You can keep up with that here on the channel, on our Nerdy Manroom, when we're Instagram and all the others when we're able to share it there.
We actually have a conference call Sunday.
As well as on Daniel Garcia's Facebook at Daniel Garcia and on his Instagram at D Garcia Comics. We also have a couple of other new friends to the show. Newer friend to the show, Miss Mandy Lynn. She's a content creator, autism activist, toy reviewer. You can find her on Doodle's Toy Report on YouTube or at Kushi Mama on Instagram. I believe she told me she's planning on being at the Hamilton Comic Con in Ontario for the 2 days that's going on, September 24th and 25th. So you can find her there as well. I may be up there for that as well. So you can, if I'm there, you can search me out as well. I'll be somewhere around on the floor checking things out.
You'll know him by our cool ass logo, and he will have shirts and stickers, people. Find him.
I will have a shirt on. I don't know if I have any with me other than that, but I will have stickers and cards. And make sure while you're checking out all of our friends, you check out our sponsor, These Own Collectibles, for all your nerdy needs. You can find them on the internet at theseowncollectibles@gmail.com, on Facebook at These Own Collectibles, and at their store at 305 Main Street in Tifton, Georgia. Help support their cause of bringing unity through community. Fandoms unite. And with them, I think we have a giveaway this week.
We do have a giveaway this week, Monster. So I'll announce the winner of this week's, what he got. And then we'll have the big unveil of what we hit 250. So with that being said, Mr. Will Callaghan, he's a friend of the show. He always comments and goes out of his way on Facebook to comment. He is an actual comic creator himself. He's going to go through a little hard time, so I just want to show a little love to him. And we have an original Cringer done by a friend of the show, Foxfoot Crafts. A Hasselhoff proof. Can't ever resist pushing the hassle. And then because D3, we got a Deadpool here.
Awesome.
So I'll get this in the mail to you, and moving on to if we hit the 250 mark. We've kind of teased a big item for quite a while now, and a friend of the show, Whitley Alexander, he's actually serving over in Kuwait right now. He come home recently, and he brought me some cool things, and we discussed some things, and he's a huge supporter of the show. So he graciously donated what he wanted to be the prize that we hit 250 subscribers on YouTube. So with that being said, we have an original H4 mask, legit H4. Ain't bullshit you find in spirits. Signed by the actor himself, Tom Morgan. He not only played Michael in Part 4, Return of Michael Myers, he also played the Roy Jason in Friday the 13th, Part 5. So he's the only actor to play Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. And he signed this mask, and it's just, like I said, a high quality mask. So when we hit 250, and if we hit it by October, this bad boy right here will be one of you guys.
Yeah, and you sent me pictures earlier. I actually shared them with one of our friends, Mandy, when I was talking to her. And I was like, hey, check this out, because I know she's a fan of horror. And she's like, how do I enter like 7 times? So I bring that up because we will have we haven't really fully discussed about. We may have a little bit more of a stringent entry policy for that one. But for our regular weekly giveaways, Hassel, all they got to do to enter to win is go to our socials and like, comment, subscribe, share on any of those. And can you tell them where they can do that at?
Well, most importantly, go to the YouTube channel. Support the YouTube channel. We need your like, subscribe, share. Hit the fucking bell. Get the damn updates. But beyond that, you can always find us on Twitter at nerdymrshow.com. You can find us at Instagram at the Nerdy Manroom Show, and you can find us on Facebook at Hassel Hutchinson via the Nerdy Manroom Show.
And with that, I think that brings us to a close. So join us here next time. We're going to be discussing our grails of collecting, as we previously promised. Like I said, we just pushed that off this week because we had so much news to go through. But until then, live nerdy, and that's the news.